Everyone, it's Miss Brenner. I hope you're all doing well and staying happy and healthy. We're going to be taking some notes today through Edpuzzle with a combination of Google Docs in Schoology that can be found in week 2. If you have any questions about our notes today, please feel free to send me an email. So we're going to be talking about chivalry. What is chivalry and is it dead in the current age? We are going to be using these notes for our fantasy unit. We're going to be talking about the Middle Ages in combination with some modern pieces of literature. So let's start off with what comes to mind for you when you hear the word chivalry. If you could go ahead and answer that in the Edpuzzle, that would be much appreciated. All right, so the technical definition of chivalry is the combination of qualities expected of an individual, such as courage, honor, courtesy, justice, and a readiness to help the weak. Often, some common examples that people think of when considering chivalry, it's taking out the significant other to dinner and paying with one check, or letting your significant other borrow a jacket from you when you're outside and it's cold and they're shivering. It might be a significant other sewing up the hole in the person's trousers or a piece of clothing because they don't know how to sew and they're being, a good person. Or bringing a cold beverage to the person that's been hard at work out in the yard, mowing the lawn, pulling the weeds, doing whatever on a really hot summer's day. These are different forms of chivalry that people commonly think of. As you can see, the knight in the picture is helping a fair maiden that doesn't want to get her dress wet. So these are just some common things that come with chivalry. Stereotypically, people think of a really nice guy doing nice things, but the truth of the matter is that it's not just about being nice. Being chivalrous is much more than that. The person isn't always going to be a nice guy, because when it comes to chivalry, the person needs to also be able to balance being nice with being stern, knowing when to stand up for somebody when push comes to shove. So let's talk about our 8 elements of chivalry. If somebody is going to be chivalrous in our stories, they are going to be, they're going to have a defense of personal beliefs, whether those beliefs are religion-based, science-based, historically based. They are going to know when to respect other people's beliefs, but also stand up for their own. They are not going to be pushed around, but they will be very respectful of others. Another quality of our 8 elements of chivalry is that their defense of loyalties. So they will defend their country, they will defend their affiliations or whoever they are related to in family, but they will always stand up for them. It doesn't mean that they are going to be gullible. They're not going to stand up for their family member if their family member has done something significantly wrong. However, they will always stand loyally behind their family to support them. Number 3 is defense of the weak. Chivalrous characters always stand up for those that they feel need their support, either physically, mentally, morally, emotionally. They are going to be there to defend those that are weaker than them. So that's oftentimes why we see the knight rescuing the maiden, understanding that the knight is more physically built for battle than the maiden most likely is. Number 4, courage in the face of an enemy. They don't back down, they don't run away. They are going to courageously face that enemy to the end for all the other reasons that we've listed off so far. Number 5, faithfulness to duty. They are sworn to their affiliations, and they are not going to just say, you know what, I could really use a vacation day, and the task that, my duty is asking of me at this point doesn't really seem all that great, so I'm just going to kick it to the beach for the day and not do that. That's not chivalrous. They have a faithfulness to what they have signed up for. Number 6 is honesty and keeping one's word. They will always be honest. They're not going to lie. Number 7 is generosity. They are fully aware of what they have, and as long as they are meeting their natural needs of survival, if they have a little extra, they're going to be generous and look for others that need their support, which wraps back to the defense of the weak. And then number 8 is the defense of just causes, which relates back to 1 and 2. They are not gullible. They are not going to just defend blindly. They want to know all the ins and outs of who they are defending, why are they defending, are they doing the best thing that they could possibly do at that point in time in order to support moral actions. And so those are our 8 elements of chivalry that we will be looking for in our characters within the fantasy unit. So another example of chivalrous behavior that is often talked about are our Knights of the Round Table in King Arthur's era. So one of those knights would be Sir Bors. He is considered the most chivalrous knight of the Round Table. He was faced with a serious dilemma. He could either save his brother Lionel, who was being attacked by 2 villains, 2 armed knights that were whipping him, or he could save a maiden in distress who had been kidnapped by a rogue knight and probably faced a very unfortunate fate. In this situation, the chivalrous Sir Bors decided to save the maiden. He did not save his brother, which by the end of the situation made his brother very angry. His brother actually, in fact, then decided, after he was able to escape the 2 assailants, he wanted to murder his brother, and so Lionel went with weapons to attack Sir Bors. Sir Bors did not pick up his sword. He understood why his brother was angry. He respected that his brother was upset with him, and he took the assault at face value. In the end, Sir Bors does survive. And in fact, Sir Bors is the only knight to survive the entirety of the quest for the Holy Grail and ends up being the successor for the throne of King Arthur. So Sir Bors is considered the ideal knight in the story because he's extremely chivalrous. So this leads us into our story that we're going to be reading this week, which is part of the Canterbury Tales, which is written by Geoffrey Chaucer's. So he's considered the greatest English poet of the Middle Ages. This means that the Canterbury Tales was written in 1392. Our play that we're going to be reading by Shakespeare is Midsummer Night's Dream, which wasn't written then till 1595. So we got some solid chunk of time between those two and a lot of historical events that happened. A couple that we're going to be looking at when we are reading the Canterbury Tale of choice for this week is that these stories are in relation to a group of pilgrims going on a pilgrimage to the Canterbury Cathedral. And throughout it, they're having a little competition of telling enchanting stories to entertain each other. And at the end, somebody will get a prize who told the best story. We're going to read The Knight's Tale. And in this, it touches on some elements within Greek mythology, which will play back into A Midsummer Night's Dream. And the reason that the Canterbury Tales were so popular is because they address a couple issues that were happening at the time period, such as the Black Plague and the Great Famine, which wiped out about half of Europe's population at the time, which is a pretty extreme event. Also at that time, when people were reading these stories, you had the War of the Roses and a lot of other civil wars that were happening in Europe because of the issues of classism, the extremely poor fighting with the extremely wealthy. And then we also had a break in religion within the Catholic Church at this time period, which is the Western Schism, where some events led to uncertainty within the Catholic Church as to who was rightfully Pope at that time, and therefore leader of the Catholic religion. So these are just a couple of the different things that led to the writing of the Canterbury Tales, which we will be reading and talking about chivalry during. All right, guys, I look forward to reading The Knight's Tale with you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I will talk to you later. Bye.